All right, so now we've got to put linear inequalities with word problems, okay? So this is just like when we write systems of equations. You want to go find your two totals first, okay? So we're going to start by writing a system, which means we need two, okay, to model the situation. It says the girls' swim team is hosting a fundraiser. They would like to raise at least 500. So I know 500 is going to be one of my equations, okay? And it says they're selling candles for $5 and flower arrangements for 6. The girls estimate that at most they will sell 200. So 200 is my other total, okay? 500 was all about money. And then 200 was all about the items. All right, so they would like to raise at least 500. All right, I would make this note that at least means that you can go over. So it can be greater than or equal to. So they'd like to raise at least $500. They're selling candles for 5 and flowers for 6. Okay? So if a candle's $5, that's going to be 5x plus 6y. And I know that this is going to go with this top equation because this equation is just about money. All right? My second is just about items. Well, the only two items are candles and flowers. So we're going to have x plus y, and they will sell at most. Okay, that means they can't go over it, so that's going to be less than or equal to 200. Now it wants me to get both of these to slope-intercept form so we can graph them. Okay, so I've got 5x plus 6y is greater than or equal to 500. I want to get this y by itself, so I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. I'm going to have 6y is greater than or equal to negative 5x plus 500. I'm going to divide everything by 6. And I'm going to have y is greater than or equal to negative 5 over 6x plus, I have to do 500 divided by 6. Which we're just going to leave that as 500 over 6. Okay, there's one equation. Now I got to get my other equation slope-intercept form. It starts with x plus y is less than or equal to 200. I want this y by itself, so I'm going to subtract x from both sides. And I'm going to have y is less than or equal to negative x plus 200. All right, well, it's your lucky day. It does not want you to physically graph this. It wants you to go put these two inequalities into Desmos. So I'm going to go to the graphing calculator. I'm going to type in my first inequality, which is y is greater than or equal to. Okay, come down here to get your symbol, greater than or equal to negative 5 over 6 plus, I think it was plus, yes, 500 over 6. All right, so there is my first inequality. Okay, so if you zoom out, you can see where it's graphed. Now I'm going to do my second inequality, which y is less than or equal to negative x plus 200. Okay, so now I want to go find a solution where these guys intersect. Okay, so I got to find the feasible region. And my feasible region would be right here, y'all, where these two things intersect, okay? But we kind of got to think about this. We're talking about candles and flowers. I can't have negative candles, so I can't include anything over here. And I can't have negative flowers, so I can't include anything over here. So just right in here is our sweet spot, okay? Then it says 120 candles have been sold. Use your graph to determine a reasonable number of flower arrangements that must be sold in order to reach their goal of at least 500, okay? We got 120 candles, okay? A candle was X. So I got to go find when X equals 120, what is my Y? Okay, we got to make sure that this is in the feasible region. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to say X equals 120. I'm going to figure out where they intersect, which is right here, which means my Y is 80, okay? They could sell 80 flower arrangements if they sold 120 candles. All right, so my next guy, and here, the other thing I want you to realize is, y'all, this is where they overlap. So any point in here would be a solution, okay? Any point where they overlap would be a possible solution. All right, number 2, the ninth graders are hosting the next school dance. They would like to make at least $500 from profit. So I know $500 needs to go by itself. Y'all, and 500 is talking about money. Okay, and it says ninth graders estimated that at most 300 students will attend. Okay, so 300, that's a total, and that's talking about students. They will each earn $3 for a ticket purchased in advance and $4 for a ticket purchased at the door. So I know $3 is talking about money, so that's going to be 3x, plus $4 is talking about money, 4y. And they said at least 500. Well, if I go up here, y'all, at least is a greater than or equal to. So I'm going to have greater than or equal to 500. It said they would like to have at most, okay, so we can't go over it, less than or equal to 300 students. Well, the kind of students are coming are the kinds who purchase it in advance and the kinds who purchase it at the door. Now it wants me to get both of these in slope-intercept form. So my first guy, I've got 3x plus 4y is greater than or equal to 500. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. And I'm going to have 4y is greater than or equal to negative 3x plus 500. To get that y by itself, I'm going to divide everything by 4. And you're going to have y is greater than or equal to negative 3 over 4x plus 500 divided by 4 is going to give you 125. All right, so there's my equation, or my inequality about money. Now I'm going to do it for students. I've got x plus y is less than or equal to 300. I want this y by itself, so I'm going to subtract x from both sides. And I'm going to have y is less than or equal to negative x plus 300. All right, so here are my two inequalities, and I'm going to go put those into Desmos. All right, my first guy, I had y is greater than or equal to negative 3 over 4x plus 125. Okay, and my second guy, I had y is less than or equal to negative x plus, I think, 300. Yes. All right, so my feasible region is going to be right in here where they overlap. So you could pick any point in there where they overlap. But this asks me a specific question. It says, suppose only 30 people buy a ticket in advance, okay? So 30 in advance. Well, I got to go figure out ticket in advance people. So that's $3. So ticket in advance is x. So when x equals 30, I basically want to know what my y is. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to say x is equal to 30. I'm going to figure out where they intersect, which is here and here. Well, let's think about which one's the more reasonable option, okay? Can 270 people buy this ticket or 102.5? Well, 102.5, I can't have 0.5 people buying a ticket, so this is going to be 30 to 70, okay? So if 30 people buy it in advance, okay, 270 need to buy it at the door. All right, two more, and then we are done with these. All right, it says in order to prepare for your summer bash, you go to the supermarket to buy hamburgers and chicken. Hamburgers cost $2 a pound, and chicken costs $3. You have no more than $30 to spend, and you need to purchase at least 3 pounds of hamburgers. This should probably say and chicken. That got cut off. All right, so I need my two totals. Well, one of my totals is going to be 30, and I know that's talking about money. And the other total is going to be 3, and that's talking about pounds of meat. Okay? Well, let's go to my money up here. A hamburger is $2 a pound, so I'm going to say 2x plus chicken is $3 a pound, so 3y. Yo, and that just tells me that x is hamburgers and y is chicken. All right, so, and I only can buy, or I need at least 3 pounds of meat, or beef, burgers and chicken. So I'm going to say x plus y, and I need to now go find my symbol. If it's at least, I know I can go over. If I can spend no more, that needs to be less than or equal to. Now I'm going to get these both in slope-intercept form, which means I need to get this y by itself. So I'm going to start by subtracting 2x from both sides here. I'm going to end up with 3y is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 30. I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And I'm going to get y is less than or equal to negative 2 over 3x plus 10. Okay, so that is my inequality about money. My one about pounds of meat. Okay, I've got x plus y is greater than or equal to 3. I'm going to subtract x from both sides, and I'm going to have y is greater than or equal to negative x plus 3. Okay, I'm going to go put both of these in Desmos to find my feasible region. So I've got y should be, what did this say? Less than or equal to negative 2 over 3x plus 10. There's my first inequality. And then my second inequality should be y is greater than or equal to negative x plus 3. All right, so I need to come look at my feasible region, which is going to be where they overlap, okay? So I'm going to zoom, zoom, zoom. Okay, and remember, I can only have positive numbers because I can't have negative amount of chicken and burgers. So my feasible region is everything in here. Okay, it says give 3 possible combinations of buying chicken and burgers for your summer bash. Okay, so basically I got to find 3 things in this feasible region. Okay, well, I could do this point right here. Okay, I can't really tell what that is, but I'm going to go with that is, I'm going to zoom in so I can actually tell what it is. Anything in this dark blue area would work. Okay, 4, 2, that would be a possible solution because that's in the feasible region. And we're going to come back and talk about what that is in just a second. Let's find another thing in the feasible region. This guy right here, because that's on the solid line, I could say 2, or we can go here 2, 2. That's in my feasible region. And then let's take one more person, and I can go right here, 8, 4 would work. Okay. Now remember, these can only be positive numbers because you can't have negative pounds of meat. Okay. So let's go back up here. X was your hamburger, and Y was your chicken. Okay. So right here, 4, 2, that'd be 4 pounds of burger and 2 pounds of chicken. Well, a quick way to check that is if I add those together, is that more than 3? Well, yeah. Okay. And if I put 4 in here, if I put 4 into this equation, I'd have 2 times 4 plus 3 times 2. That's got to be less than or equal to 30. Well, 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 times 2 is 6, and that is less than or equal to 30. So I know that this guy is good. 2, 2 would be 2 pounds of burger and 2 pounds of chicken. And then 8, 4 would be 8 pounds of burger, 4 pounds of chicken. So there's a lot of possible solutions because I've got a pretty big feasible region. All right. Last guy, number 4. Jenny is making jewelry for an arts and crafts show. She would like to make at least $100 in sales. So I know I'm going to need 100, and that's talking about money. That's one of my totals, okay? And she estimates that she will sell at most 50 pieces of jewelry. So I'm going to have 50 here, and that's talking about number of jewelry. All right, so the bracelets she sells cost $2 and necklace are $3. Well, that's all about money, so I'm going to have 2x plus 3y, okay? That goes ahead and tells me that a bracelet is x and a necklace is y. All right, so now, okay, I got to figure out my sign. She would like to make at least, well, remember that's going to be a greater than or equal to. And then she'll sell at most, which means that's a less than. And the only type of jewelry she has are bracelets and necklaces. So that's going to be x plus y. All right, we got to get these to slope-intercept form. So that means I got to get this y by itself. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. I'm going to have 3y is greater than or equal to negative 2x plus 100. I'm going to divide everything by 3. And I'm going to have y is greater than or equal to negative 2x plus 100 over 3. All right, from here, I got to come graph this guy. I need him in slope-intercept form. I'm going to have x plus y is less than or equal to 50. I want this y by itself, so I'm going to subtract x. And I'm going to have y is less than or equal to 50, or sorry, my x should come first, negative x plus 50. All right, I'm going to graph these inequalities to find my feasible region. I've got y is, I got to go back and double check, greater than or equal to negative 2x plus 100 over 3. And then my second guy was y is less than or equal to negative x plus 50. All right, so I'm going to zoom out to find my feasible region. That's going to be where they overlap. And remember, I can only take the positive answers because it's not possible to have negative bracelets and negative, what is this, necklaces, okay? It says give 2 possible combinations that can be sold in order for her to meet her goal, okay? So I got to go find 2 points in this feasible region. So I'm going to zoom in so I can actually see what's going on here. And I'm going to go find points in this region. Well, right here, y'all, 20, what is this guy right here? 25, that would work because that's my feasible region. So 20 comma 5. And then down here, pick something else. I can pick 30, 10. And then I'm just going to go double check that this works, okay? Remember we said X is bracelets, so this would be 20 bracelets and 5 necklaces. So when I go and double check this, I'm going to double check that, okay, 2 times 20 plus 3 times 5, is that going to be greater than or equal to 100? Okay, so when I go double check this, this is going to be 40 plus 15, and that is not greater than or equal to 100. That's not going to work, okay? So let's go see what we messed up with. Okay, I figured out where our mistake was. So right here, I just had a negative 2. This needs to be a negative 2 over 3. I didn't go type that in. So that needs to be a negative 2 over 3, okay? And that's going to change this feasible region. So now you'll see that 25 is not in that region anymore, okay? So let's go and get rid of these points, and let's find 2 new points that are now in my feasible region, okay? And that was because we just wrote our slope wrong. All right, so let's go find 2 new points in that feasible region. So when I go and look at this, I'm going to zoom so I can actually see. Okay, I can use this point right here of 2020 now. That'll work. All right, 2020. And that tells me that would be 20 bracelets and 20 necklaces. And I'm going to come double check that in a second. And I'm going to find one other point in this feasible region. Let's go down here. I want to do 40, I think this would be 42 to 4. Oh, maybe it'll let me find it. Hold up. Oh, I just saw a point. All right, well, this guy looks like 42, 6. I'm going to just double check that this is in the region 42, 6. Where's that point? Label it. Okay, yeah, 42, 6 is in there, so we're good to go. I'm going to take 42 and 6. And that would be 42 bracelets and 6 necklaces. So I just got to double check that that all works out good, okay? So 42 times 2 plus 3 times 6, I want that to be greater than or equal to 100. Well, I'm going to put that in my calculator. 42 times 2 plus 3 times 6, that gives me 102. So that's more than $100. So that would be That would work there, okay? And now I just got to double check, is 42 plus 6, is that less than 50? Well, that's 48, and that is less than or equal to 50, so that means we are good. You could go back and check this guy too, but he's in our feasible region, which means we're good to go.